Right, building up to the Irish Classics, the Irish Guineas this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We know we've got 3 Group 1s there. Here to talk about that and a little bit more is Aidan O'Brien. Aidan, thanks ever so much for your time. Hope all well with you. If I can, and just reflect on the Lion in Winter, obviously well supported yesterday for the Derby itself. How is he? How's he come out of the Dante? And what's your, with a bit more water under the bridge, what's your overall assessment of his reappearance, Aidan?
Yeah, no, he seems to be fine, Tom. Obviously hasn't done much since. We were happy with his run, really. I suppose everything that happened could have been expected to happen. He just barely made the run, really. He was obviously probably plenty fresh, and he just jumped, and he was just very keen in Ryan's hands. Obviously, because it was his first run, and his next run could be the Derby, Ryan wanted him just to come back and relax a little bit, which he did. But obviously, he was probably up in a gear too high too early, and then he was very happy with him through the race. And then I think when he was just about ready to start coming forward, I think a horse came from behind him and just took his ground a little bit and gave him another little nudge. And obviously at that stage Ryan was only going to be looking after him anyway. So and then I think when the horse went by him, then Ryan just looked after him, and I think he wasn't beaten far for third, and probably obviously if that hadn't happened down the straight, he probably would have been third. No, so he seems to be fine since, and I suppose we were delighted to get the run into him, which if we didn't, obviously we couldn't even think about going to the Derby with him, really.
I remember after City of Troy, obviously, last year, and you talked about what you did differently with the horse to teach him how to race over the 1.5-mile trip. Is it a very different proposition with the Lion in Winter, albeit we saw that early keenness there? Do you just put that down to first run and freshness, and actually, you know, you don't have to turn your attention to that too much going into a 1.5 miles at Epsom?
Yeah, no, I think so, Tom. Obviously, listen, you never know, but he's not a keen horse naturally anyway, really. So he should be fine, and I think obviously his last run was in York, and he ran over 7, and he just jumped into the bridle and went forward, you know. So listen, we don't think that should be a problem, really, and probably extra work and the freshness gone off him should take care of a lot of that, really.
He's hugely exciting and fascinating based upon what we saw there. A horse that's done things a bit more by the book, Derby-wise, is Delacroix, off the back of his 2 performances this year. He's really ticked every box so far. Is that fair?
Yes, yeah, everything has went well with him so far. He won the Ballysacks, and then he went back and won the Dernestown. So obviously the last day was a little bit probably slower run race than we would have liked for him, but he still came out very well, and he quickened up very well. He's a horse that we always thought would definitely get 1.25 miles, and usually if they get 1.25 miles, there's if they're a very high class 1.25 miles horse, there's a good chance they'll get 1.5 miles. So no, everything seems fine with him so far, and obviously we've been happy with his 2 runs so far this year.
And just on the Oaks, obviously you won a couple of the key trials there. I feel like, you know, Mini Hawk was perhaps the most impressive of them, if you like, off the back of that Cheshire Oaks success. All gone well with her since that win. You know, where are we? 10 days or so on from that.
Yeah, everything has been good. We felt just ready to start. We felt that she learned plenty, and no, obviously the plan is to go back to Epsom with her, and everything has been good since. Absolutely, Tom.
Great stuff. And Whirl was very impressive, I thought, when winning the Musador. She looks as though she's full of stamina for 1.5 miles, Aidan. Is she likely to run at Epsom? Because I know the Irish Oaks was mentioned for her. Any sort of firmer plans with her? Yeah.
No, I think there's a good chance she will, Tom. Like what you said, she looked like she stayed very well. We always thought that she would get 1.25 miles well, and she's a very relaxed filly too, and she did definitely look like she just kept going at York. So really, and you think, looking at and hope that she would get 1.5 miles. So, that's the plan, I think, at the moment. I think that's the plan.
That's Whirl at York off the back of that success on day 1 of the Dante meeting. Turning your attention to Saturday, then 4 in the Irish 2000 you've got entered up in there. You've got Trinity College, you've got Serengeti, you've got Expanded and Officer as well. The market would have it as the leading chance. Are they all very much intended runners at this stage come declaration time, Aidan?
Yeah, no, I suppose Officer looks our main one at the moment. That's what we were thinking of. He won the trial at the last day, the Petrack at Curra, and he seems to have come out of it. So obviously we have others in, but there's other options for some of the others. But we think at the moment he looks our main one, Tom.
And we didn't see him till quite late back end of last year, but that was obviously with a success, and he made quite an early reappearance. That was just to sort of get him right for this first Irish Classic of the season, was it? Stepping up from then a 7 furlong reappearance up to the mile last time.
Yeah, the line is bad, Tom, but I think what Officer is he started back this year and he ran in the 7 furlong race at the Curra. The Gladness against all the horses ran very well, and obviously his next one then was the Curra's last time up. We stepped up to a mile and he didn't seem to have any problem with that. So no, we've been very happy with his 2 runs.
Lake Victoria, were you happy with the efforts at Newmarket, and is it the plan to run her in the Irish Guineas on Sunday?
Yeah, that's Lake Victoria, Tom. That's the plan. We were very happy with her run at Newmarket. She only barely made it as well, but everything has went very well with her since then, and we always hoped and thought that this is where she would go next. And I know everything's very good with her, and everybody seems to be very happy with her.
I thought it was very promising. I know you'd potentially intended to not run her and run her over 7 furlongs, but then of course they changed that race to a mile. So it was pitching her in pretty deep first up off the back of what I think you described as not a perfect preparation for her. That was fair, right?
With Lake
Victoria,
we were thinking of going to the Curra with her for the Atazis, but they changed it to a mile rather than 7. Probably if it was a mile or 7, we'd have went to the Curra for our first run back, and it would have been easier on her. But the Tazzies were up to a mile, so we said if we're running a mile, we might as well go to Newmarket. Anyway, so that's how she ended up going there. But we always thought and felt there would be a lot of improvement from it.
And is her likely path, Aidan, to be on then to a Coronation Alaska and keep her to a mile, or is that changeable depending on what happens on Sunday?
Is that Lake Victoria, Tom?
Yes, sorry, Lake Victoria again, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, no, so the line is bad, that's why I'm only getting a little bit of it. But no, the plan was if everything went well, she would go to Ascot, and we were obviously going to keep her at a mile for the moment. That's what we were thinking.
Good luck with her. I know the line's not great. I just want to get a sort of line on the Tattersalls Gold Cup, and obviously there's some very exciting horses in there, the likes of Los Angeles in there. I see Continuous is in there as well. But is Los Angeles likely to line up in that contest?
Yeah, yes, that's the plan, Tom. Yes, Los Angeles, everything has went well with him since, and absolutely that was the plan. Going to Curra the last day that he'd go back for here, and that's the plan. Everything looks good so far with him.
Good stuff. We look forward to seeing him and all the other horses that you've taken us through. Thanks ever so much for your time, and good luck this weekend and beyond, Aidan.
Yeah, appreciate it, Tom. Thanks very much. You're welcome.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.